Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western practical astrologer, and I am here today to talk about the Aquarius personality. So we're going to be looking at the personal planets within the sign of Aquarius, as well as the Aquarius Rising. The personal planets being the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So stay tuned. However, before we do dive into today's video, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button and click the bell. And if you are interested in a personal reading from myself, if you're interested in my services, then you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks, guide and merch. All the links will be in the description box down below. I do hope that you find this video to be helpful today. Let's do this. Alright, so before we get into this, please let us know your Aquarius placements in the comment section, and if you resonate with your placements today, I would love to know. Okay, so to begin, we're going to explore the Aquarius personality overall. If you have an Aquarius personality, you are free thinking, friendly, inventive, innovative, intuitive, and paradoxical. You have a mind of your own, and if anybody tries to tell you how to be or how to act, you are quick to reject their perceived demands. And you possess a strong, and I mean a strong, interest in people. Yeah. Naturally, you are an air sign, just like Gemini and Libra. So you're curious people. You can be quite engaging, quite chatty, and you really do like to get to know other people. And you want to know what their stories are, what have they experienced. But you take things to a whole other level in that you go beyond the superficial and you look deeper into situations and people. You're willing to ask the harder questions, the uncomfortable questions, the questions that many people either don't think about or they're too afraid to ask them. You are the people who will listen to what is happening in the mainstream. You'll watch trends online and you'll quickly notice what themes and patterns are going on. And what you do is you'll question the status quo. You'll not give in to phony or fake messages. And this is interesting because you're quite similar to Scorpio in this way. You and Scorpio will stand well back from a situation and you will analyze it, you'll observe it, you'll pick it apart. And while Scorpio will come from a much more emotional place, well, you come from a much more intellectual place. You both might not say anything about what you see, but deep down, you know. Your intuition speaks so much truth. On the other hand, this is where the paradox comes in, because you can also give into the hype. You might strongly follow certain ideologies, especially when you're younger. Stay with me here though. So let's just say there is a new political, environmental, or social message being pushed. And you think, oh my goodness, I can see where they're coming from. The animals are dying. Those people, they need help. The way these people are being treated is so wrong. So you will push for change. You'll join the cause. You'll wave the flag. You'll tell the whole world. Let them all know. Now, this part of you can be so amazing when used constructively, rationally, and intelligently. But you can also get a little bit, don't take this the wrong way, and also I am an Aquarius, so I'm kind of speaking to myself, you can kind of get a little bit crazy. See, you can obsess about the thing, attach strongly to the thing, the collective idea becomes a part of you, and you might do the wackiest of things to prove a point. Then again, maybe change is made when we do something out of the ordinary, when we do the crazy thing. But be careful of how far you take things. Be cautious of the people you end up impacting throughout the process. Perhaps you have a new revelation anyway. Next thing you know, you're leaving that old thought process behind, that old collective idea that you attach so strongly to. You're headed off in a new direction because you don't agree with the message anymore. And like I said, you're free thinking. So even if you go all in when it comes to a certain group ideology or project, you know that you have the power to change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind, even if you ruffle a few feathers in the process or you offend other people in the process. And if others feel a type of way about you changing your mind, maybe you think, well, that's their subjective feelings and I don't owe them anything. Essentially, you think for yourself. And you are an independent thinker and communicator. And whilst you can be super friendly and really caring as well, might I add, you aren't the most sentimental, you're not the most emotionally warm. Now, to be fair, there can also be some of you who, or times when, I suppose as well, when you are tactless, argumentative, and just plain rude. I guess it depends on your audience, it depends on the situation, but whilst you care about your communities, your friends, your teams, your groups, and so on, you have very, very little patience for stupidity, ignorance, and quite frankly, other people's feelings, especially when you think that their feelings are not justified. And what I mean by this is, well, let's say, for example, your friend tells you that they destroyed their sister's phone and they say the reason for why they did it. They say, I was so mad, I was so angry at her. And whilst you'll listen to your friend tell you this story, inwardly you're thinking, just because you're angry, it doesn't give you the right to destroy somebody else's property. You'll probably just say it to your friend's face, especially if you're really comfortable with them. And I guess this is another paradox of yours, and that is that whilst you're some of the most non-judgmental and very accepting people, right? You can be very accepting when it comes to other people's experiences, their walks of life. You can be welcoming and inviting. You're also some of the most judgmental people. You judge other people's actions a lot, and you tend to think you're right about the things that you analyze within others, even though you can be wrong. But you don't like admitting when you're wrong. You can be so stubborn and fixed on your own ideas and your own message and views. Some of you might even be super outspoken and extreme and very inflexible. Then you try to control other people's minds. You want them to admit they're wrong, and you just can't see where you might be at fault. I'm just sighing because I'm an Aquarius and I can relate to this. So following on from this point, when someone lies to you, you can sense it. I think your ability to see through the BS is underrated. But if you continuously assume that you're right, your intuition can become foggy. So what I'm trying to say here is, the more you can learn to accept your faults and your flaws and so on, the clearer your intuition and your intellect will become. Think about it. If you're so fixated mentally, you're fixed mentally on this certain idea or this opinion, and you refuse to see a way out of your own head, you trap yourself. Not just mentally though, but also spiritually and emotionally, because consider how the mind and our emotions and our body, everything's so interlinked. And I think that as you grow and mature, you embrace a greater awareness of sensitivity, gentleness, softness, and emotional strength. You grow in your emotional intelligence and your inner wisdom. You become empathetic, caring, trusting, and more in touch with your spiritual self. You tap into other dimensions and you develop greater skills tied to spirituality, to the emotional side of life. And in the process, your intuition strengthens. You can hear that inner voice pointing you in the right direction because you learn to let go. You let go of this need to be right all the time. Now, with that being said, you also strengthen your mind. Like I said, everything's very interlinked. So in this respect, having a strong mind doesn't mean always being right or choosing not to learn new things. To possess a strong mind is to stand in your purpose and to not be easily influenced by outside forces that tempt you with their false promises and wishes. You don't give into meaningless nonsense that isn't true for you. And if others do not agree with you, if you don't agree with someone else, you don't try to push your agenda. You don't try to push your beliefs onto them. You simply observe, question, and learn. Some views may resonate and some may not. But at the end of the day, it's about you choosing what does and doesn't resonate. And this here makes you secure within yourself. Secure about your decisions, secure about your political views, your societal views, your global views, and so on. Now, like I said, I am an Aquarius and I'm trying to learn these things. I'm not perfect and it's certainly not easy. It can be really difficult to get out of my head. Perhaps you're an Aquarius and you can relate. And also, I just want to say here too, you may be an Aquarius who is just amazing at debating because you possess the patience to listen, but you also possess the quick wit and the logic to know what to say in response to other people. And I'm not that Aquarius. I become far too emotionally charged and then I don't listen. I do have an Aries moon, so. But still, you're often the people using your voice to inform others, educate others, and to invoke change amongst others. You want to share your knowledge with the world. Now, there are just a couple of things that I want to mention before we get into your placements. The first thing is your symbol. Okay, so your symbol is the water bearer. And the other thing is the fact that you are ruled by two planets, the traditional ruler being Saturn, the modern day ruler being Uranus. So the water bearer, that water bearer holds a picture of water, and water in astrology is associated with emotions. Therefore, the water in the picture symbolizes how we can contain our emotions in a healthy way. And we can also express how we are feeling and what we are thinking freely too. But at the same time, we remember that we are individuals and our emotions are our own. And this right here links back to what I was talking about earlier, meaning you tend to view emotions in this contained way. Now, on one hand, you can detach and you can view things more objectively, but on the other hand, things can build where you don't express your feelings, and when you finally do, you become forgetful or you become unsure of yourself, or people can't really read you very well. They don't really understand. And I think you're the types of people who you need some time to truly process your emotions and feelings, but just be careful not to shut other people out and to always deal with your emotions, with what you're going through on your own. And I think this is where the trust part comes in that, I was talking about this earlier. Perhaps your trust was trampled over when you were younger, or you had to handle your emotions on your own. But I think developing greater human connections helps you learn to trust and share how you're feeling more freely. Also, with both Saturn and Uranus being your rulers, there is this part of you that is serious, dutiful, disciplined, responsible, and dedicated, being the Saturn part of you. But then there is this other part of you that is eccentric, rule-breaking, chaotic, rebellious, turbulent, and surprising, which is the Uranus part of you. Now, some of you might identify more with Saturn, others of you might identify more with Uranus. I guess it depends on your chart. And I'll also say here that there are times when you follow the rules, the steps, the structure, but you typically prefer to add your own unique twist to things. Some of you may be more conservative, others of you may be more progressive. Some of you might push to change tradition, others of you might push to change what is non-traditional. But both point toward change either way. There are even those of you who care deeply about humanitarian issues, but then there are those of you who question such issues as you turn your attention toward a different issue that you care about. Most of society could be shouting for change within a certain area or group, but you head off in a different direction, the opposite direction, and you look for a different group, a different cause that needs help. Essentially, you're a free spirit and you have these humanitarian qualities to you. All right, so with the Aquarius personality being explained overall, let's get into the personal planets and the rising sign in Aquarius. So if you have an Aquarius rising, when other people first meet you, they are greeted with these qualities of independence, quirkiness, friendliness, and curiosity. The way you walk or move throughout the day appears unique. And what I mean by this is you march to the beat of your own drum, and so you move this way. You have a mind of your own which plays out within your everyday life. You can also appear aloof or like you're in your own worlds. There tends to always be something you're thinking about. You can be quite creative and inventive, and you come up with these ideas out of nowhere. In a flash, you get an idea and you want to take action on it or talk to someone about it. There is this element of genius when it comes to you. And it's funny because a common physical trait you possess is your notable head. You're this brainy person, the nerdy one, or the quirky one, or the researcher. You want to understand why society is the way it is, and you possess this strong curiosity about the world. And whilst there are times when you can come across as super interested and engaging, there are other times when you just want to be left alone and it's not about other people, you just need your space. It depends on the day, I guess. It depends on your mood. Perhaps you often get told by others how clever and insightful you are, or you get told how weird or strange you are, or you get told that you appear detached and distant. After all, this is the first house, and the first house is the house of I am. Still, you can be a team player whilst thinking for yourself. And when it comes to your goals and your ambitions, you can be so focused and dedicated. And your ambitions usually involve things like science, research, technology, humanitarian projects, experimenting, psychology, space, astrology. You want to make a difference in the world. Though on the other hand, out of nowhere, you might decide to change direction. You head off on a whole new journey. Now, it's also important to locate your chart rulers, which are Saturn and Uranus, because they will give you more information about your purpose, your commitments, and your responsibilities, being Saturn, and then looking at your quirks, surprises, and breakthroughs, being Uranus. Saturn points to your structure and Uranus points to your non-conformity. Essentially, your journey of self-discovery is tied to your communities, your friendships, your individuality, and your hopes for the future. The Sun in Aquarius. Okay, so let's address the fact that the Sun is in detriment in this sign. The Sun is tied to our individuality, our identity, and our ego. It's associated with fun and play. And Aquarius is the sign connected with society and communities. It's tied to things that are conceptual, looking at intellectual qualities, fanatical qualities, suggesting that you often struggle to fully grasp who you are. You experience these existential crises where you question your very existence and why you're here and what your purpose is and why is society the way it is. Oh yeah, you can really go through it as you think about where you fit in. You'll try to make sense of things logically, but maybe your thoughts and research only lead to more questions. You go down this rabbit hole. Maybe you often question this reality itself. You know, is everyone mad or am I mad? Why are certain structures in place and why do people not see the insanity of such structures? Is this an illusion? Is time even real? Is the ego even real? Do we have free will? Further and further you go as you disconnect from yourself. You realize that you know nothing, but at the same time, you want to know everything. Some of you connect to a group and it becomes your identity. I know I've been there, perhaps I still am because I've attached strongly to the astrologer identity. Though on the other hand, perhaps such questions about society and reality and existence, they are a part of your strength when used sensibly. See, it's you who asks the bigger questions that aren't being asked. You challenge what society is doing and you can share what you discover with the world. And as you do, you can create change. Though kind of getting back to the whole not fitting in thing, sometimes not fitting in isn't an issue for you. In fact, you like being different and not necessarily fitting into a certain identity. You also enjoy being recognized and applauded for your uniqueness and being even recognized for your quirks. But there can also be times when you get annoyed at others calling you weird or strange. It gets boring after a while. Do they not have anything original to say? And feeling misunderstood can be frustrating sometimes. And there is a paradox here in that you want to connect and relate with others, but there is also this part of you that distances yourself from others. You'll separate your identity from the collective identity. You don't fully give yourself to one person or to one group because you want to give parts of yourself to many people or because you're an individual and you're proud of it. Don't get me wrong, you can appear normal, but in your mind, so many people just don't get it. Still, you like opening people's minds to different views. And perhaps it's quite fun. You know, you have fun. It can be playful whenever you are engaging in these discussions that are more out there with others. You love to stimulate your mind in this way. And the thing about this too is that as you age and grow, you develop stronger emotional intelligence. You learn to connect with others on an emotional level. Naturally, do make sure to consider the aspects being made to the Sun, or if you have any other placements, which makes things quite different. Still, you express qualities of being free thinking, independent, and unique, but you also express qualities of, you know, togetherness and looking for friendship and being really caring, and your very purpose is tied to these things. Now, do also make sure to consider the house that your Sun in Aquarius is in, because this will tell you the area of life that this energy is playing out in. The Moon in Aquarius. Alright, so this is where we notice the most sensitive and private qualities of the Aquarius traits, the more internal and emotional qualities. Inwardly, you are independent, free-thinking, and eccentric. You prefer to deal with your emotional matters on your own. And if or when you are super vulnerable with somebody else, you may feel like an idiot. It's like, why did I say that? Or why did I react in that way? Oh my gosh, that was so dumb. Then again, perhaps it's you that prefers to analyze your emotions and view them from a bigger perspective, which can be useful, but acting like you're so above a certain feeling or emotion can have its downsides. However, when you support someone else emotionally, you can be super compassionate, really, really kind. You want to help them and make them feel better. You can be such supportive people, especially to your friends, especially to the ones who are a part of your tribe. And bringing intellectual qualities to your emotions can be helpful, such as getting a friend to think before they make a decision based on their feelings. You also possess this inner need to help humanity, to serve, and to make a change. There are certain causes, charities, or movements that you care deeply about. And there's also this inner part of you that stands for fairness and doing what is right. But then there is another part of you that can be distant, or like you don't really care about something when really you do care. And you care a lot. It's just hard to communicate those emotions and feelings to others. Perhaps many people misread you or they misunderstand you. And throughout your life, you have felt different or like you don't fit in. And no matter how much people place expectations on you, you're going to march to the beat of your own drum. You strongly dislike people trying to get you to behave a certain way, or people who deliberately try to make you jealous or upset. Now, with that being said, you can experience your fair share of crankiness and moodiness. Out of nowhere, you might say something really rude or mean, or you can come across as cold, or you might react very strongly, especially when you don't get your way. And you can be stubborn, you can be very loyal and trustworthy, but you have this unpredictable side to you too. And when you have emotionally checked out from a situation or a relationship and so on, that's it. You have made up your decision, you've made up your mind, and there is no going back. Maybe some of you, you were also raised to have independence, okay, thinking about Uranus, but then maybe others of you were more restricted, okay, thinking about the Saturn side. Naturally, do also consider aspects being made to your Aquarius moon as well as other placements. But essentially, you are instinctively inventive, idealistic, creative, and futuristic. You feel deeply about humanity and about making a difference. And perhaps also you just have this natural geeky, nerdy side to you. And I mean that in a good way. Now, do also make sure to consider the house that your moon in Aquarius is in, because this will tell you the area of life that this energy is playing out in. Hi, it's me again. So I just wanted to inform you about the practical astrology guide that I have created. So it is a 20-day practical astrology guide, and it covers the ins and outs of astrology, looking also at how a natal chart is created. It touches on the astrological ages, it looks at astronomy as well, and also looking at those practical representations of the 7 classical planets and the angular points. So if you are someone who is interested in astrology, you're new to it, even if you are an astrology student or you're an astrologer, because we can all learn something different from each other, I definitely recommend this guide. My whole intention with this guide is that you will walk away from it thinking of astrology, hopefully practically and also differently. And my major key aim really with this guide is using the stars for self-awareness. So learning about astrology, but also learning more about yourself and learning more about other people. Plus, it is super affordable, costing only about £2 per day. Though, if you are interested in just a little taster, so looking at you dipping your toes into what this guide is all about, that is available for you as well. Mercury in Aquarius you're an interesting communicator, an innovative and independent learner, and an experimental and friendly teacher. You look at the bigger picture questions and you communicate them in a way that makes sense to others. You look at the bigger picture topics and subjects, and yeah, you want to communicate them, and you can ground that information really, really well. But you can also experience times when people look at you like you're nuts, maybe because you need more time to really think about your message, how to deliver it really well, or because your mind or the things that you're learning about, they are ahead of its time. And what I mean by this is you tend to study topics and subjects that many people think are strange, weird, or different, but then give it a few years and suddenly it seems like the whole world is studying that thing. So when it wasn't mainstream, people looked at you like you had 5 heads. But when it becomes mainstream and more popular and known, people can understand you. They can actually relate to you much better because they know about it now as well. Then again, there can be people who act like they know so much more when you literally introduce them to the topic ages ago, or there can be people who act like, oh, well, I didn't tease you years ago for studying that, but now because I'm into it, it's completely fine. But hey, it's all good, right? I mean, Aquarius, it's like, it's all good, it's all chill, it's all cool, whatever. After all, you're not the types of people who are looking for the recognition anyway. It's about passing on information and spreading knowledge without a round of applause. And when you notice someone else acting like they are all seeing and all knowing, you'll most likely ignore them. And this within itself just shows how contradictory and how hypocritical you can be, because you can go through moments when you appear all seeing and all knowing. You act like you're so cool and different, and others are so beneath you. Judging others is also likely, even though you did the exact same thing a week ago. However, I do think that as you grow, you develop a greater emotional understanding. You empathize with people better and you pay more attention to what your intuition is saying. Maybe you're interested in sociology, psychology, philosophy, literature, art, technology, science, space. There is also something unique and quirky about your voice or about your accent or your message. And when it comes to the likes of driving, commuting, and moving throughout your local city or neighborhood, some of you can be quite nervous, okay, thinking about the Uranus side. I am that Mercury in Aquarius person. But then others of you can be quite steady, okay, thinking about the Saturn side. Or it could be that you fluctuate between the two. Maybe you appreciate the freedom driving gives you, or there is something surprising about how you commute. You like to attend events that are different and cool. You might suddenly decide to go somewhere, or maybe you are quite set in your ways about where you go. You like what you like, or maybe it's that you choose to visit places that are less popular. Naturally, do also consider the aspects being made to your Aquarius Mercury as well as other placements. But overall, you are free thinking, fair-minded, and opinionated when it comes to the likes of writing, speaking, and media. You prefer to have your own style and you can surprise others within discussions. And you're also very genuine and truthful. Now, do also make sure to consider the house that your Mercury in Aquarius is in, because this will tell you the area of life that this energy is playing out in. Venus in Aquarius. Okay, so we're taking this friendly, idealistic, humanitarian, and inventive sign, and we are applying it to your relationships, your resources, and your finances. And so when it comes to love, for example, you value friendship, perhaps above all else. You like to know that you and your partner are friends. You might even be someone with this placement who is polyamorous, or There are those of you who decide not to be in a relationship at all because you value your freedom and your independence. And when in a relationship, you need freedom. You need freedom. And you also need your boundaries to be respected. Oh, and perhaps you have dated people from all different cultural backgrounds. People with all of these very different characteristics and quirks. Their stories are so different. And the person that you're in a relationship with may have completely different views or religious values to yours. And even if your parents don't agree with who you're dating, for example, or your friends don't agree, you'll probably date them anyway because you want to. And you won't let the opinions and judgments of others hold you back from loving someone else. Now, you also value your space. So if your partner or your friends or relatives, if they try to control you or boss you around, you will put a stop to that. You will not put up with it. And you will be very, very serious too. You strongly dislike people trying to tell you who you are and what you should be doing. Also, you like intellectual discussions. You like it when your partner and your friends, when they can stimulate your mind. You also like to be challenged and to challenge others. They're just looking at finances and resources. You prefer to save and you like to be consistent and cautious. There is a level of commitment and determination here. And you are also, you can also be quite committed and loyal within your relationships. I want to add that as well. However, there can be times when, out of the blue, you decide to spend a large sum of money, just for an example here, or you pay for a holiday on a whim, or you suddenly decide to change the car you have. Maybe you have experienced unexpected events when it comes to your physical security. Furthermore, you can be talented and gifted at the likes of technology, computers, research, experimenting, maths, science. If you want to learn a musical instrument, for instance, you'll show dedication. Maybe you care about human rights and so you'll join protests and rallies and so on. Naturally, do also consider the aspects being made to your Aquarius Venus as well as other placements, though essentially you seek freedom when it comes to your relationships. You want a love that is mentally stimulating and different. A relationship full of surprises. Now, do make sure to consider the house that your Venus in Aquarius is in, because this will tell you the area of life that this energy is playing out in. And lastly, Mars in Aquarius. All right, so here we have the most forthright, honest, and no holding back personal planet of Aquarius. You will speak on issues and subjects that mean something to you. You will want to finish your sentences and get your point across without any interruptions, and you can be headstrong. You're willing to challenge authority, challenge what is being presented, challenging the status quo. You're also willing to call people out, especially people who are hypocrites. Yet, you might not realize how hypocritical you can be. Or you might overlook other people's personal feelings and experiences because you're so focused on a certain narrative or message. Let's just say here that you are not the most gentle and soft when it comes to humanitarian concerns and issues. You'll be a loud voice for groups and causes, etc. And thinking about your anger here, you can be quite rebellious. You'll refuse to listen to others. You'll intentionally refuse to follow the rules or other people's advice, other people's opinions. You basically block everybody else out and you focus on the thing that is making you angry or the thing that you need to change. You might also say things that are quite cutting and highly insensitive. Then again, you can also experience times when you detach from your anger. I guess it depends on the situation. But you might think about a situation before becoming angry. You might surprise yourself, such as you rising above a situation or a potential argument that's about to arise. You can rise above it really, really well and you can choose not to respond. Not to mention, there can be times when you aim to be fair-minded and to be reasonable. And when it comes to your goals, you can be so focused and determined and strong-willed. Sure, you can be scattered at times and you might suddenly decide to change something, but you do really push yourself to follow through. You can commit to things really well. Maybe you feel strongly about your independence and freedom. You can be a strong leader, a leader who also considers others. You'll motivate others to think for themselves, to advocate for themselves. Perhaps things like social justice, politics, human welfare, animals, the environment, activism, or human behavior. These types of things inspire you. You're also inspired by things like sociology, psychology, and space. Naturally, do also consider the aspects being made to your Aquarius Mars as well as other placements. Though essentially, you make for independent leaders, psychologists, activists, scientists, humanitarians, visionaries, and social workers. And you are ever so friendly, accepting, and encouraging when it comes to your clients, friends, lovers, and colleagues, and so on. Now, do also make sure to consider the house that your Mars in Aquarius is in, because this will tell you the area of life that this energy is playing out in. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking about the Aquarius personality. Please do let me know if you find this video to be helpful today, and if you resonated with your placements. I would really appreciate that. And again, let us know your Aquarius placements in the comment section down below, and let us know your thoughts and your opinions on today's video. But with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and of course if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!